Greetings and salutations, dreamers in Dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Listen to Me, Volume 46. And let me tell you something right now. Everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly. I have an extraordinary episode of Listen to Me in store for all the dreamers in Dreamland today. Let me tell you what, today is Tuesday, the 19th of October, 2021. And you know, we're rounding third. We're in the fourth quarter of the year. We're rounding third on this boxing year. And we're coming into a very hot time. Now, you know, everybody knows, all the dreamers in Dreamland. And if you don't know, now you know. That, you know, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, the dream, yours truly. I'm a Scorpio. You know, November 10th, that's the day I, first came to this planet, this earth. That's when I first graced the world with my presence, on November the 10th. And every year, consistently, right around my birthday, there are phenomenal fights, and I just want to go over very quickly that we do have some very big fights coming up all in the month of November. We've got Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant on November the 6th, and then on November the 20th, we have Shawn Porter and Terrence Crawford, two incredible pay-per-views featuring, two of the top 5 pound-for-pound boxers in the world today, and they're both coming up right around my birthday in the month of November. Now, we also have coming up October 30th, we have Otto Wallin taking on Dillian Whyte in the heavyweight division. That's a battle of two, a top 5 heavyweight in Dillian Whyte and a top 15 heavyweight in Otto Wallin. So that's gonna be a great fight coming up on the eve of Halloween on October 30th, the night before Halloween. That's gonna be a great fight. So we've got a lot of great boxing coming up, but this video, Listen to Me number 46, has got two very big focuses right now. We definitely had a lot of movement in the heavyweight division over the past few weeks. We had the Alexander Usyk fight with Anthony Joshua, where Alexander Usyk became the unified heavyweight champion of the world, the WBO, WBA, IBF, IBO heavyweight champion of the world. Now you add that on top of the fact that he was an undisputed cruiserweight champion, and then he's an undefeated champion of the heavyweight world right now. In boxing, Alexander Usyk is a pound-for-pound fighter. Yes, he is. So there is some movement on the DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound top 10. And we're going to get to that later. But first and foremost, I want to cover something that's pissing me off. Something that's a pet peeve, something that annoys the shit out of me, and really annoys the shit out of a lot of boxing fans the world over. The lightweight division. Right now, with 135 pounds, we should be having incredible fights. There should just be a smorgasbord. There should be a buffet of literal incredible fights. We've got Devin Haney, the WBC champion. We've got Teofimo Lopez, the unified to some, my opinion is unified, the undisputed to others, 135-pound lightweight champion, Teofimo Lopez. You've got Tank Davis, who holds a baby belt, who has to make a decision whether he's going to, I don't know if he's made the decision yet, but I know the WBA has put pressure on him. He holds a full version of a world title at 130, a baby belt at 135, and a baby belt at 140. It looks like Tank is not going to be at the 135-pound division, although that's probably the division that best suits him right now. Also, Ryan Garcia. We all know what kind of a prima donna he is at 135. When they announced that he might have a halfway decent fight, what did he do? He decided that he had depression, that he had mental health issues. While he then, in turn, while speaking out of that side of his mouth, on the other side of his mouth, he decided to throw insults at Devin Haney. So while he wasn't man enough, didn't have his head together enough to set foot in the ring, Devin Haney fights, and he's got some shit to say about him. Now, in my opinion, that's not mental health. That's just being a fucking pussy. Sorry, I gotta call it the way I see it. And Ryan Garcia, in my opinion, while he has a lot of skills, the way he moves is the definition of a fucking pussy. That's right, a fucking pussy. Sorry, it is what it is. All right, and you know what? Truly, I'm not sorry. Moving on to Jojo Diaz. Okay, Jojo Diaz, who just recently came off a victory and ended up taking Ryan Garcia's place, beating Javier Fortuna, who was the opponent that was proposed for Ryan Garcia. Jojo Diaz took his place and beat Javier Fortuna. Beat him. And Jojo Diaz was supposed to go into a Devin Haney fight because he then became Devin Haney's mandatory. Ryan Garcia and Jojo Diaz both became Devin Haney's mandatory, and neither one of them wanted the fight. So the 130, Teofimo Lopez, as much as he says he wants to fight, The way he moves doesn't seem like he wants to fight. So, listen, I'm not a Devin Haney fan because Devin Haney supposedly was supposed to have a meeting with Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn and Bill Haney, and Devin Haney. They didn't show up for whatever reason. So, a lot of people, some people will give you the narrative that the 135-pound division is filled with guys that just don't want to fight Devin Haney. And sometimes that's true. Even Richard Comey, who decided that he might fight Devin Haney, ended up fighting Vasily Lomachenko. That's who he's going to fight. I'm not saying that Richard Comey ducked anyone, because he didn't. Richard Comey is one of my favorite fighters, and I don't think, outside of the Teofimo Lopez fight where he got stopped, I don't think Richard Comey ever lost. I didn't see him lose the Robert Easter fight, and I didn't see him lose the fight in Russia. I thought those were two very controversial decisions, and I'm not the only human being on this planet Earth that holds that opinion. All right, now the lightweight division, as I'd mentioned, stacked. You got Vasily Lomachenko. You got, but none of these guys, Vasily Lomachenko, who went away with his emails and becoming franchise at 135, he ducked Devin Haney as well. I don't understand if Devin Haney, is so generic and he sucks so bad, why doesn't anyone want to fight him? I mean, supposedly, Jojo Diaz has inked a deal. Supposedly, they are going to fight in early December, but until the fight is officially announced, it's hard for me to believe because no one has gotten in the ring with Devin Haney. And I don't even think that Devin Haney is levels better than any of these guys. It's my opinion, and opinions are worth about 2 cents, and 2 cents is something you can throw out the window or flush down the toilet. But it's in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that I think Teofimo Lopez has what it takes to beat Devin Haney. Yes, I do. I believe he does. But the way Teofimo Lopez has moved over the last year has been pitiful and pathetic. I mean, George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez, they were supposed to fight. All right? Teofimo Lopez dethroned Vasily Lomachenko a year ago in October. Since then, he hasn't done shit. Hasn't done a fucking thing. The only thing that Teofimo Lopez has done since then has squandered his opportunity to become a crossover star. Coming off of that hot victory when he beat, pound-for-pound sweetheart, to some people, pound-for-pound king, Vasily Lomachenko, what did Teofimo Lopez do? He decided to have his fight go to purse bid, and the fight, with Kambosos, which ended up on Triller, Triller ended up defaulting on the fight. The fight's taken more than a year, and it's not a big fight. That's a fight that would have been shown on Tuesday night fights or Friday night fights if this were the 1990s. This is a bullshit fight, for lack of a better term. It's a mandatory, and Teofimo, he got a few schmeckles more. He got a few schmeckles more going with Triller, but Triller is a failure. Look, I was very optimistic about Triller, and I was very optimistic about Michael Hunter being on Triller, and I was very optimistic about the whole project, but, I don't want to be some kind of fool at all. I like to be optimistic. I think pessimism is poison, but I'm a realist at the end of the day, and the reality is Triller's a failure. They're a fucking failure. I mean, one of my friends fought on Triller this past weekend in Brooklyn. Cletus Selden, Hebrew Hammer. He was victorious. Congratulations, Cletus Selden. He's a top 10 contender at 140 pounds. And hopefully he can secure a world title shot there, within the next, I'd say, 24 months when Josh Taylor vacates those titles. Which, within the next 12 to 24, rather. Those 4 belts are going to go vacant. Josh Taylor is not going to hang out at 140 pounds. And when that happens, the belts will go up in the air. But regardless of, my friend fighting on that platform, Triller hasn't really done anything. They haven't. They had the Tyson fight, and then Tyson didn't want to do business with them. They had Jake Paul on their platform, and then Jake Paul went another direction. They signed Teofimo Lopez, and he has since moved on. Well, they didn't sign Teofimo Lopez, excuse me. They won the purse bid for the Kambosos Lopez fight, then they defaulted. They ended up signing Regis Prograis for a fight, and it was pedestrian level at best. And Regis Prograis, from my understanding, is a free agent. So Triller is a fucking failure. And the 135-pound division right now, while it should be beautiful, it sucks. It's trash. It's terrible. I don't believe the Haney-Lopez fight happens at 135. I believe that fight happens at 140 pounds, and I don't believe it happens this year or next. I don't think it happens till 2023 at the very earliest. At the very earliest. Now, having said all those things about 135 pounds and how it sucks, I want to move on to the pound-for-pound list. Now, the pound-for-pound list has had some movement, since Usyk dethroned Anthony Joshua. Now, in my opinion, because Usyk did what he did and because he was the undisputed, cruiserweight champion, before he vacated those belts, at cruiserweight, I had him in my top 5. I had him maybe at number 5 or number 6 in the pound-for-pound rankings. After he vacated his belt at cruiserweight, the DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound list, you got to be a champion. You can't be coming off a loss. For example, you could still be a champion. Let's say if you were a 135-pound fighter, you moved up to 140, you challenged for a title and you lost, and you decided to stay at 135 and were a champion. If you were pound-for-pound before that, you got to get back in the winner column before you can go back on the DreameLand pound-for-pound top 10 list. That's just the way it is. That's the only way, you know, a fighter might be a champion but coming off a loss. Regardless, you got to be a champion. You got to be active. You know, it's hard. It's hard for me to put a number on it. If a guy still has a sanctioning body's title, it's hard for me to remove him from my top 10 rankings. But 18 months of inactivity, you got to go. You're off my list. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You can't be inactive for more than a year and a half. In my opinion, that's fucking bullshit, and it sucks. It sucks. Is inactivity good for boxers? Since when has being inactive made anybody any money? Since when has being inactive got anybody better in the ring? Maybe some guys have taken some time off and healed up and come back better, but inactivity, no. Inactivity sucks. It's poison and it's bullshit, and it's a problem in boxing. Having said that, Usyk did win the unified heavyweight championship of the world and became a 2-division world champion. 2. And in the process, when he beat Anthony Joshua, I believe that was the 3rd reigning world champion, active reigning world champion that he beat to become a champion. So Alexander Usyk's resume is strong. Real strong. And he gets some style points for going into Anthony Joshua's backyard and beating him and taking the belts from him. Look, every single championship that Alexander Usyk has ever won in his career, and every single significant fight that Alexander Usyk has had in his career has been on the road. He's never fought in the Ukraine where he's from in a significant fight and won and been a sweetheart. No, that's never happened. He's a fucking road warrior. Michael Hunter, when he beat him, it was in the United States of America. Michael Hunter's an American. It wasn't even for a title. When Alexander Usyk beat Marco Huck for the Cruiserweight Championship, I believe it was the WBO, that was in Germany. Marco Huck's a German. When he beat Briedis, he beat him in Latvia. He beat Briedis in Latvia. Beat him. He beat, who else did he beat in the World Boxing Super Series? The Russian, Gassiev, Murat Gassiev. He beat him in Russia, in his backyard. He then, after he won the World Boxing Super Series, he went to the United Kingdom, and in Tony Bellew's backyard, he beat him. He beat him. He's beaten every champion he's ever beat in their backyard. Any significant fight, he's beaten that fighter in their backyard, in their country. That's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do. Look, we all know what happens when a fighter from a foreign country goes to the United Kingdom. More often than not, they do not get a fair shake. The same thing can be said when a foreign fighter goes to the United States. They do not get a fair shake. It does not happen. The hometown decisions, the home cooking, it's a part of boxing. And if you think it's not, you're fucking pretending and you're an idiot. That's a fact. If you don't think that there are hometown decisions in boxing, if you don't think there's home cooking, if you don't think that, you know, look, on the Anthony Joshua undercard, I can give you a prime example. Campbell Hatton lost every fucking minute of every round of his fight. And the referee, who was the only judge in the fight, who had the best seat in the house, better than any judge at ringside, sitting at any, side of the ring, he's in the ring. He's the third man in the ring. He's got the best view. And he gave the fight to Campbell Hatton. So that shit happens all the fucking time. And it didn't happen to Alexander Usyk not one time in any of his big fights. He didn't leave it in doubt. And I actually believe that Campbell Hatton's opponent didn't leave it in doubt. But that's an example of the corruption. That's an example of the corruption in boxing right there. Recently. So, having said that, that puts Alexander Usyk on the DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound list at number 2. Very close to number 1. He's at number 2. Truly. Now, we'll go over it again. Canelo Alvarez was number 1. I had Terence Crawford at number 2. Nonito Donaire at number 3. And Inoue at number 4. As it stands today, and Josh Taylor was at number 5. As it stands today, we have Canelo Alvarez at number 1. We have Alexander Usyk at number 2. Terrence Crawford at number 3. Nonito Donaire at number 4. The Monster Inoue at number 5. Josh Taylor at number 6. Juan Francisco Estrada at number 7. Teofimo Lopez at number 8. Jermell Charlo at number 9. And Kazuto Ioka at number 10. So, we have said farewell to anyone and everyone who doesn't belong on this list. They're gone. Errol Spence Jr., bye-bye. You've left. You're no longer here on the list. Take care, my friend. You've been inactive. You didn't get to have your Pacquiao fight. That was actually one of the reasons that I had put you at number 10 on the list in front of Oscar Valdez. That was one of the reasons I had Errol Spence Jr. at number 10 on my previous DreameLand Pound for Pound Top 10 video, because he was going into a fight with an all-time great, Manny Pacquiao. Well, he ended up pulling out of that fight for injury, and he's been inactive, and because of his eye, I don't remember which one it is, but because I believe it's his left eye, because of his eye, he's not going to be, functioning for quite some time, and he's not on the list. Sorry, you've been bumped off, and to be honest with you, you don't deserve to be on the list, not with these guys today that are active, that are winning fights, that are doing it with style and grace, and that are doing it in a way that you are not, sir. So, while everybody else in the world, Ring Magazine and ESPN and PBC and, DAZN and all these other, schmendricks want to keep Errol Spence Jr. on their pound-for-pound list for I don't know what reason, for being a welterweight champion alone, being fairly inactive, and not fighting, outside of his own promotional umbrella. That's why they want to keep him on their list. He's not on this list. So, remember, to be on the DreameLand Boxing pound-for-pound top 10, you've got to be active, you've got to be a champion, and you've got to be the man. Not someone pretending to be the man, someone who really is the man at their weight class. At the end of the day, I'm the Dream. It's been a pleasure. Yours, mine as well. I'll see you again. I love each and every one of you, but not nearly equal. It's just the way it works. I know some of you too well to love you that much. Till we meet again, my friends. Peace.